China's Xiaomi is officially entering the heavy populated EV market after spending over $1.4 billion on production. The electronics company is squaring up against the likes of Tesla and Porsche with its first EV model, Xiaomi SU7.
The fact that they're pulling back means there's more share for Tesla and others who choose to go for it.
A billionaire distracted, running several companies at the same time, immersing himself in controversy and dealing with regulators.
He's done a lot in 2023, maintaining Tesla's status in the EV market and continuing his rebranding of the company formerly known as Twitter. As the leader, is Musk effective, or is he taking on too much?
I mean, we believe that EVs are superior in almost every way to ICE vehicles, so we should really see adoption hit the S-curve.
J.D. Power, they rank Tesla last or near last in quality. Edmunds ranks Tesla as the only company.
Is that what people in China read? Do people in China read this?
Of course.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is up in the pre-market almost 1%, sitting at $255.29. You may or may not recall that I opened a 260 put on December 27th with aspirations of 100% gain. Tesla was soaring almost to 265 before it plummeted back down to earth, allowing me to sell it yesterday for about 130% gain, give or take. I'll take a quarter of that gain, put it away for taxes, use another quarter to place a 0-day option today, up or down, I'm not sure yet, and 50% of that gain goes to the purchase of Tesla stock. In the purchasing of stocks, every dollar counts.
China's Xiaomi is officially entering the heavy populated EV market after spending over $1.4 billion on production. The electronics company is squaring up against the likes of Tesla and Porsche with its first EV model, Xiaomi SU7. Ross, what do we know, and is it going to perhaps make a dent in the market shares of some of those other behemoths?
When I heard Xiaomi's owner say that he said it matches up to a Porsche, I kind of had a little chuckle. But then I saw the SU7, and it has the it looks like it's a clone of a Taycan or a Panamera. You know, I don't want to count out Xiaomi's billionaire owner here because the car has some impressive stats. It'll apparently use batteries made by CATL battery cells and packs from BYD. Estimated range of 500 miles, but that's very optimistic there. We'll use hyper casting or good casting techniques that Tesla uses in a sub 3-second 0 to 60 time. So very impressive stuff here. No launch date or pricing, but you know, like I said, Xiaomi's billionaire owner Lei Jun says he wants the company to be a top automaker in 15 to 20 years. That's a long game right there.
Xiaomi has a long road ahead of them if they plan to compete with the likes of Porsche, let alone Tesla. As Elon is quite fond of saying, prototypes are easy. Manufacturing, that's the hard part. No price on these things, no release date, but what it does do is allow you to think about what if Apple decided to build their car? Where would their batteries come from? Where will their manufacturing process take place? Even motherfuckers that are making smartphones can see that the money, these highly complex manufactured items, there's gold in them there hills. Best of luck to Xiaomi, but they're about to find out real quick. This ain't as easy as Tesla makes it look.
There's an evolution and the EV world has changed. How are you thinking? It's still a top holding. How are you thinking about the Tesla story right now?
The world is evolving, actually, I think even more closely to what we expected. Because we expected a lot of traditional auto manufacturers to see the writing on the wall and rush as quickly as they could into scaling big time into electric vehicles. And what has happened recently? Both GM and Ford have said, we're stepping back. We're not going to do this until it's profitable. The problem with that is in order to be profitable, they need to scale. That's how this works. These are learning curves that they are riding down, and those are expressed in cost decline. So the fact that they're pulling back means there's more share for Tesla and others who choose to go for it.
Ding, 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 ding! Tell her what she's won, Johnny! Your mother. Right. How can you expect the cost to go down if you don't make the vehicles? Pulling back is essentially signing your own death warrant with an execution date of somewhere around 2030. You just can't expect magic profitability. Slapping a big battery up under an internal combustion engine, realize that there is an extreme difference from a battery electric vehicle made from the ground up like Tesla to an inefficient wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will, internal combustion engine car masquerading as a battery electric vehicle. These are way too expensive for you to be trying to pull the okie doke on me. If I'm going to shell out this much cash, I'm gonna get the best in class. Now, before we go into this next segment, which is basically the antithesis of what was in the Wednesday show, Bulls on Parade, well, we've got the bears coming out of their caves. But not just analysts, Yahoo seemed really bearish on Elon Musk and Tesla as they focused on the techno king and all the many hats that he chooses to wear. For fear of me taking any of this out of context, all the links will be posted below. You be the judge.
2023 has been a rocky year for Tesla and CEO Elon Musk.
Is it just me, or has 2023 been an awesome year for Tesla, up over 100%?
Billionaire distracted, running several companies at the same time, immersing himself in controversy and dealing with regulators.
But it can't be all bad, right? You gotta have perhaps some bullish catalyst for the stock, right?
Said that to give them some positive news, guys. I didn't know this. 3 of the 5 biggest vehicle sales in 2022 were actually trucks. So the Cybertruck move for Tesla heading into 2024 could be the thing that saves them when it comes to some of that margin compression that they've continued to mention on their earnings calls. But the big question is the next gen batteries for those Cybertrucks moving forward. Also, the ramp up in production of those Cybertrucks. They're expanding their factories in Mexico to allow for some of that production ramp up to continue as concerns about that production volume remain on the street. Now, we also have anticipation of that $25,000 vehicle for Tesla coming in here in the next 6 months to a year. That could be a boon for this name if they're able to kind of expand their market share by allowing for a little bit more of an affordable name. But an affordable product is not always good news for margins. So I'm curious about how they're squaring that with their margin compression concerns that we've heard Elon continue to talk about.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they found a way to cut the cost of production in half. So what do we got so far? Cybertruck should help with the margin story, but only if they can get the 4680s right. And the $25,000 car could actually be a headwind.
Long term, though, guys, we've got the Dojo supercomputer and, of course, Optimus the robot. I can't not mention that. But the question is, these are long-term goals. It feels to me as fantastical as a self-driving car at this point. When am I going to see it? When am I going to be able to get in a self-driving car that takes me to and from the East Village on a Saturday night?
This stuff isn't so far into the future as they might think.
We've been talking all about Elon Musk's companies this morning, digging into their performances this year and what may happen next year. But the man behind those big names is also important to understand. He's done a lot in 2023, maintaining Tesla's status in the EV market and continuing his rebranding of the company formerly known as Twitter. As a leader, is Musk effective, or is he taking on too much? Bill George, former Medtronic chairman and CEO and author of True North and Authentic Leadership, joins us now. Bill, thanks for giving us some time here. We've really been trying to make the connection on some of the outlandish stands that Musk is taking in terms of social issues, potentially starting to weigh on Tesla's stock and its performance. Do you see that day happening? And if so, is that 2024?
Yeah, I think Elon's got to decide, is he going to be the greatest inventor of our era, which I think he is, or is he going to be a social commentator? So I'd give him an A+ as an inventor and an F as a social commentator.
Yahoo even has some of the bulls out.
Our next guest maintains a buy rating on the stock and a $267 price target. Here to give us the bull case for Tesla, George Giannarakis, who is the Canaccord Genuity managing director here. George, take us into your thesis here and outlook going into 2024.
Tesla had a difficult 2023 because, as you guys referred to, they had to cut prices in order to stimulate demand for their vehicles. And the goal was always to counter the impacts of interest rate increases and keep that monthly payment sort of the same. And there was some data out yesterday that talked about EVs finally sort of catching up to ICE vehicles, and that price gap being anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 on average. So we're pretty close. And as that gap closes, I mean, we believe that EVs are superior in almost every way to ICE vehicles. So we should really see adoption hit the S-curve. Now, in terms of what the outlook is for 2024, the last conference call Tesla had was one of the most morbid I've ever heard, and I've been covering the stock for a long time. And what that did was it resulted in estimates for next year, for 2024, coming down. So Tesla's always had this aspirational goal of growing its units by 50% a year. The good news is that now consensus is about 20%. So people have already factored in this reduction in an outlook for 2024. So we'll see what they have to say about demand. We're at about a little bit less than 2.3 million units. The street's about a little bit less than 2.2, and we'll see where they end up. But
2.5 sounds about right. But I can't believe that even George is considering that Tesla had a bad 2023, up over 100%. George knows why the production was down. The retooling of the factories, which will increase production, has successfully destroyed the confidence of Wall Street, lowering their next year's estimates to 2.2, 2.3 million. Tesla's gonna blow those numbers clean out of the water.
All right, heading into 2024, Tesla faces several risks. Let's dive into those with longtime Tesla investor Ross Gerber. Gerber, Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management CEO. Ross, always nice to get some time with you as well here. We were just talking with a prior guest on the risk to Tesla, their financials, their stock price, because of some of the just the views he has taken in terms on social issues. How concerned are you that next year his views start to hurt the demand and hurt the stock price of Tesla?
So the fact that Elon has, become, and I don't think it's equally a similar controversy of smoking weed on Joe Rogan to making severely anti-Semitic remarks. These are different levels of, or telling everybody to F off, So I think if Musk's behavior continues to get more and more extreme, that is a risk to Tesla sales. But the bottom line, as George pointed out, it's the best vehicle on the road. It's the best value on the road. So consumers literally have to buy a lesser car because they don't like Elon. And so I don't know if consumers are going to do that or not. I know certain consumers are, for sure, but there might be many others that just simply want the best car.
Even the bulls have a modicum of shade to deliver at the stock. Ever the emphasis on the negative when it comes to Tesla stock. Leave it to Yahoo Finance to check my confirmation bias at the door. All of this negative chatter just further accentuates the divide on TSLA. It's the bedrock of all of this volatility because the bears have come out to play and Yahoo Finance has glommed on to many of those arguments. They just can't believe a company that chooses not to advertise on their platform could possibly outperform those that do. But like I said, the bulls had their day. Even CNBC is getting on the bear wagon.
Craig, it's great to have you on. You've been bearish on Tesla for ever. I mean, I feel like it's been years that I've spoken to and you've been bearish on Tesla, and yet the stock has performed really well despite whatever you want to say about the fundamentals. Why are you still bearish here?
I'm bearish because I see it as egregiously overvalued, right? We look at Toyota as a benchmark.
Why are we using Toyota as a benchmark? Their EV sales are limited to that of Japan, and quite frankly, not doing so hot over there. It's like comparing those that were making automobiles in 1911 to the horse and carriage industry. Sure, they both get people around, but one's fundamentally different than the other. Craig is one of my favorite bears simply because he does not get this. It's like he throws Tesla's growth potential clean out of the window.
Right, Toyota's the world's largest auto producer, about 9 million cars a year. There's nothing Tesla has that Toyota does not.
Every time I hear a clip about how many cars Toyota is producing, that number tends to go down about 500,000 cars. That number has shrunk from 10.5 million to 10 million to, what did you just now say?
Right, Toyota's the world's largest auto producer, about 9 million cars a year. There's nothing Tesla has that Toyota does not.
Well, I would say that Tesla has their numbers going in the right direction.
Why should it trade at a large multiple to Toyota? If it's going to sell a fraction of the vehicles, maybe the technology premium, the leadership in EVs, give it a similar valuation. And that's really what we do with our $85 price target.
$85 price target? Boy, that's a far cry from where we're at today and where my bear case is for Tesla. $364 per share in my bear case. But if there is a bear of all bears, it's gotta be your boy Gordon Johnson.
Now look, in last quarter, third quarter, where Tesla sales were actually down sequentially. I'm gonna look at my notes here. Their market share in China fell nearly 220 basis points from 2Q to 3Q. And from peak in China, when their market share was 27% in 1Q of 20, it's down to 8.6%. Their market share has collapsed.
The market share collapsing. Does it matter if your EV market share collapses if your overall penetration into the car market is growing? EV market share, that's small potatoes, my friends. Everybody and their mother is making a battery electric vehicle, and if they sell one, Tesla's market share, by mathematics, has to decline. But you know what's not declining in China? EV sales compared to internal combustion sales. As the ICE market share erodes, Tesla eats that up. But that doesn't fit into Gordon Johnson's narrative, although it probably is pertinent information.
But here's why. Let's focus specifically on why Tesla's market share is falling. If you look at Consumer Reports, what car, J.D. Power, they rank Tesla last or near last in quality. Edmunds ranks Tesla as the only company.
Is that what people in China read? Do people in China read this?
Of course.
Get 'em!
Edmunds ranks Tesla as the only company whose EPA stated range, its actual real world range for every single car is lower than its EPA stated range. So you're not getting the range. And then just the other day, there was a study that came out from LendingTree that stated Tesla's cars are the least safest out of all 30 cars they tested.
They're about to have a record in China.
23.54 accidents per 1,000 cars.
This is Tesla's best quarter ever.
Let me get out my bearish points that I've cherry-picked, please. Hush up, Ross.
Yeah, the point is this. Tesla's cars are unreliable, unsafe, and don't have the mileage. We've been saying this for a long time. And what's happening is the consumer, right? The consumer is moving away from Tesla. One last point. Just today, we found out that Tesla had a number of axle failures, right? Suspension failures they knew about, right?
The Gordon Johnson Gatling gun is on fire today. Methinks thou dost protest too much, sir. But what can you expect from a man that has a price target of $24 for Tesla? In conclusion, Xiaomi setting the roadmap for the Apple vehicle? Ooh, a shocker. Cathie Wood remains bullish on Tesla stock, but Yahoo Finance seems to be putting up the hazards, if you know what I mean. Urging investors and buyers of Tesla vehicles to proceed with caution. Who needs bearish analysts when you got news anchors like Yahoo Finance? Speaking of bearish analysts, we've got Craig reiterating that Tesla is overvalued. And Gordon Johnson's Gatling gun of fear, uncertainty, and doubt toward Tesla is firing on all cylinders. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.